I disappeared. Not because I hated anyone, but because I couldn't recognize myself anymore. Every day felt like noise, people talking, pretending, posting, and me, I was playing along. Smiling for cameras that didn't care. I realized something one night. If I died tomorrow, nobody would even know who the real me was. So I walked away. No text, no goodbye, no post, just silence. 90 days of it, no one to talk to, no one to perform for, just me and the truth I'd been running from. And if you've ever been alone long enough, you know silence isn't peaceful. It's loud. The first week was hell. No dopamine hits, no distractions, just thoughts. Every regret, every fake smile, every person I let use me. You think silence heals you? No, it exposes you. Every lie you told yourself comes crawling out, and you either face it or it eats you alive. I remember looking in the mirror and saying, "You don't even know who you are, do you?" Nietzsche once said, "If you stare long enough into the abyss stares back." He was right, okay, because that's exactly what those 90 days were. Staring into the abyss of who I had become, I wrote everything down. Every thought, every memory, every version of me I'd buried. Jung called it meeting your shadow. It felt more like shaking hands with a monster I'd tried to kill. But that monster was me. By day 10, I started setting rules. Woke up at 4 a.m., no excuses. Cold showers, no phone. I trained my body like a soldier because I realized discipline isn't punishment. It's protection. Protection from the weaker version of you that always wants to take over. I remember what Goggins said once. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So I built systems. Run, write, read, reflect, repeat. My body hurt, my mind screamed. But each day, the noise got quieter. Each day, I could feel myself becoming someone else. The silence was starting to work. Not as a punishment, but as a forge. There was one night I'll never forget. Rain pounding outside. I couldn't sleep. All the guilt came flooding back. The mistakes, the people I hurt, the people who hurt me. And for the first time, I didn't run from it. I sat there in the dark and said it out loud. Every name, every sign, every failure. That night, I realized something Jung wrote once. You don't become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. So I stopped trying to be positive. I stopped pretending everything was okay. I faced the darkness and made peace with it. Because the truth is, you can't rebuild yourself without tearing down the parts of you that weren't real to begin with. By the second month, I wasn't the same person. I stopped feeling guilty for being quiet. I stopped apologizing for wanting peace. I became ruthless about my time, my energy, my boundaries. Machiavelli said, "A wise man does at once what a fool does at last." So I started doing at once. Cutting off people who only called when they needed something, saying no without explaining why, and focusing only on what made me sharper. Because I learned something powerful. When you stop talking, you start observing. And when you start observing, you see how fake most of the world really is. Silence became my advantage. They didn't know what I was thinking, what I was doing, what I was planning, and that's what made me powerful. By day 60, I built a rhythm. Wake up, move, reflect, no phone, no noise, just momentum. Mel Robbins was right. You're never going to feel ready, you just have to start. Once I started, I realized I didn't need motivation anymore. I needed purpose. So I started building one. I mapped out who I wanted to be, how he thought, how he moved, how he handled pain, and every day I acted like him until I became him. I stopped chasing validation, stopped begging for attention, because I finally understood what Nietzsche meant by self-overcoming. It's not about becoming better than others. It's about conquering the parts of yourself that keep you small. I became obsessed with that. 90 days later, I came back. The same city, the same people, but nothing felt the same. People looked at me like I'd seen something they hadn't. Maybe I did. They asked where I'd been. I said, learning how to shut up and listen to the part of me that was dying to live. They laughed, thought I was joking, but I wasn't. Because silence changes you, you start hearing things differently. Not what people say, but what they mean. You start seeing through their masks because you took yours off. And once you've met the real you can't go back to pretending. If you're listening to this, maybe you feel lost too. Maybe you've been living loud, surrounded by people, but dying quietly inside. I get it. I was there. And I'm telling you, the path back to yourself isn't pretty. It's lonely, it's quiet, and it's brutal. But if you can face that silence, you'll start hearing the truth. You'll stop seeking validation. You'll stop trying to fix people. You'll stop explaining your worth. And one morning, you'll wake up and realize you didn't rebuild your life. You rebuilt you. Because the man who spoke to no one for 90 days wasn't running away. He was finally coming home.